I used to think the worst nightmare for a parent lived only in bad dreams. But that day, I stood frozen while my 8-year-old daughter lay face down on gravel, a metal bat inches from her head, and the HOA president's son smirked like he owned the whole damn neighborhood. And when his mother showed up, the queen herself, Karen Lawson, she looked me dead in the eye and said, "Maybe your daughter just tripped." That was the moment I realized we weren't just dealing with one arrogant kid, but with a suburban dictatorship disguised as an HOA. I should back up. My name's Mark, and when my wife Sam and I moved into the estates at Serene Lake, we thought we were buying peace. You know, manicured lawns, friendly neighbors, cookie-cutter mailboxes, the whole safe suburb starter pack. We paid ridiculous HOA fees for the illusion of security, for the promise that this little bubble of America was protected. My wife's a former Army officer, calm, under pressure, sharp as a blade, and I'm just the guy who keeps the garage full of half-fixed tools and extra bags of mulch. Our daughter Lily, she's the center of everything. 8 years old, all pink sneakers and messy braids, her laughter the kind of sound that makes you forget everything else. Until the day it got cut off mid-note. I was elbow-deep in a dying lawnmower when I heard the silence. You don't realize how loud kids' laughter is until it stops like a switch flipped. By the time I dropped my wrench and ran out, Sam was already halfway down the street, moving with that steady stride I've seen 100 times before. Purposeful, unshakable. And then I saw it. Lily on the ground, gravel scraping her cheek, and 4 boys looming over her like a pack of wolves. One of them, the tallest, was Tyler Lawson. In his hands a bat held not like sports equipment but like a weapon. He slammed it into the gravel an inch from her face, pebbles flying. My heart hammered. I wanted to scream, but my voice caught in my throat. Sam didn't hesitate. Her voice was ice cutting the air. "Get away from her." The boys flinched. They weren't looking at a neighbor's wife anymore. They were staring down a soldier who'd already made her decision. Tyler tried to puff up, said something about just playing, but under her stare the bat hit the ground with a thud. For 1 second I thought it was over. Then the white SUV rolled up. Out stepped Karen Lawson, HOA, President, PTA Chair. Local royalty hair, perfect smile, polished like a blade. She looked at her son, looked at Lily, still clutching Sam's leg, then shrugged it off with the ease of someone who'd rewritten reality 1,000 times before. "I'm sure it was a misunderstanding," she said sweetly. "Boys will be boys." She didn't ask if Lily was okay. She didn't acknowledge the bat lying in the gravel. She just pulled Tyler close, shielding him with that smug little smile, and told us maybe our kid was clumsy. In that moment, my stomach turned. The rules I thought we all lived by, "don't hurt kids, take responsibility," didn't exist for her. She had her own set of bylaws, and we had just been drafted into her game. The next morning we tried the school. Sat across from Principal Henderson, a man whose tie was always crooked and whose backbone was nowhere to be found. He wrung his hands, muttered about one student's word against another's, and looked like he wanted to be anywhere but in that office. Karen swept in uninvited, carrying typed statements from Tyler's buddies, every one of them parroting the same lie. Lily ran between them, tripped her fault. She turned to us with that poisonous smile. "She's a sensitive girl, isn't she? Translation, your daughter's weak a liar." And Henderson folded. Closed the file. Thanked Karen for her generosity toward the athletic department and declared the matter resolved. Resolved. My little girl had been threatened with a bat, and the system called it even. Walking out of that office, I felt something I hadn't felt in years, utter helplessness. I remember thinking maybe Karen was right. Maybe we were out of line. Maybe it was easier to pack up, move away, let this place rot under her rule. For a moment, I almost believed it. Then the letters started. Official HOA notices Karen's name in perfect cursive at the bottom. Violations for grass too tall by a 1/4 inch. $100 fine. Another one for the way our garden hose was coiled, $50. The cherry on top. A violation for unauthorized ornamentation. A gnome. Lily had painted an art class hidden behind a bush. Someone had walked onto our property to photograph it. Every envelope was another needle under the skin. That was when Sam stopped being just my wife and became the field commander. She opened a new folder on her laptop labeled HOA, grabbed a tape measure, and started cataloging everything. Photos, timestamps, documentation. She treated those letters like enemy fire, and our response was evidence. I wanted to scream, to storm over to Karen's door and shove the fines down her throat. Sam just said documentation first. Always. Weeks passed and the fines kept piling up, a war of paper cuts. And then it escalated. One night, close to midnight, the motion light on our driveway snapped on. I peeked through the blinds and saw two men in dark jackets walking up, one with a clipboard, the other with a bag. They didn't knock, didn't ring. One of them crouched near our planter, fumbling with something. My stomach dropped. He was planting a bag of white powder. Staged evidence. That was the moment I broke. My chest felt hollow, and I muttered, "We can't win this. She'll ruin us." For the first time, I saw fear in Sam's eyes, too. But it wasn't fear of Karen. It was fear I might give up. She pressed my hand, whispered, "Watch." Then she hit a switch. Our porch lights blazed like stadium floodlights. The speaker on our doorbell boomed, her voice metallic and cold. "You are on private property. You are being recorded. State your names and purpose." The men froze. Panicked, scrambled back to their van. We got the whole thing on camera plates, faces, the works. That was when Sam looked at me with a grim smile and said, "Predictable." From that night on, our house became a command center. Cameras disguised as birdhouses dash pointed straight at Karen's driveway, even a drone circling the neighborhood at dawn. I managed the footage while Sam built timelines, linked every bogus fine to video proof of compliance, every contractor's fraud to HOA contracts Karen's board approved. Still, evidence alone wasn't enough. We needed allies. That's when we went to Bill, our next-door neighbor, a retired Marine who'd already been fined once because his American flagpole was an inch off code. He listened, wiped his chisel on a rag, and said, "She picked the wrong family." Then, Claire, a teacher across the street who'd seen Karen funnel PTA funds into sports teams while arts programs died. She gave us names of other families Karen had targeted. Suddenly, we weren't just one household, we were a network. A small rebellion in suburbia. The breakthrough came from Michael, one of Tyler's friends. Through a quiet chain of trust, we got screenshots of their group chat, the Dugout. And there it was, Tyler bragging about knocking Lily down, laughing at how scared she looked, and typing, "My mom owns the principal. She's making their life hell with the HOA LOL." Reading it, I felt a wave of cold clarity. It wasn't just bullying anymore, it was an organized cover-up orchestrated by Karen herself, and we had it in his own words. But the real kill shot came when we turned to George Peterson, the HOA treasurer. We walked into his pristine living room with a thin folder, Tyler's confession, and a draft police report naming George's son as a participant. We told him he had a choice: let his son go down with Tyler or help us stop Karen. The man cracked like old porcelain. He disappeared into the back room and returned with a flash drive. "This is the real ledger," he whispered. "Not the doctored one she shows. Every fake invoice, every kickback. 5 years' worth. It was all there. Embezzlement fraud money siphoned off under community outreach and board development. 6 figures stolen while she fined us over a garden gnome." The annual HOA meeting arrived. Usually, it was a handful of people nodding along while Karen droned about property values. That night, the place was packed, neighbors shoulder to shoulder. Karen stood at the podium in her white blazer, smiling like a queen addressing her subjects. She had no idea she was reading her own obituary. Sam walked up with a laptop, calm as ever. Slide 1, a photo of Lily's scraped face. Gasps rippled across the room. Slide 2, bogus violation letters against time-stamped photos proving compliance. Murmurs turned to outrage. Slide 3, Tyler's chat messages, his confession hanging on the wall for everyone to see. Karen shot up shrieking, "This is slander! This meeting is adjourned!" She banged her gavel like it could stop the tide, and then a voice came from the back. "Not so fast, Mrs. Lawson." The doors opened. State police detectives and troopers filed in. One walked down the aisle, warrant in hand. "Karen Lawson, you are under arrest for fraud, embezzlement, and conspiracy." Her son, Tyler, tried to run, but a trooper caught him mid-stride. "You too, son. Assault." The room fell dead silent. I watched Karen's face crumble, her eyes darting, searching for an escape that didn't exist. The cuffs clicked around her wrists louder than anything I'd ever heard. As they led her past me, her gaze locked on mine, and for the first time the mask cracked. I saw fear. Real human fear. The kind she'd used to control us all. And in that moment, I knew we'd won. Because when you stand up to a tyrant, even one hiding behind HOA bylaws, you don't just save your family. You show everyone else they can fight back too.